Hi, everybody. I'm Debbie Belaus. I'm the owner of Qigong with Debbie. I teach yoga, tai chi, Qigong, and meditation, the Eastern practices. And today I want to talk about gravity and understanding what energy is in a practice. So Qigong, tai chi are Eastern practices and they're energy practices. Now, if you're not familiar with working with your energy, it might seem a little, I don't know, confusing or different to think about working with your energy, because energy you can't see, but you can certainly feel. And this practice is all about cultivating energy to restore and repair our bodies and our minds, and also to create vitality. They're natural healing practices, and they are time tested. They're over 5,000 years old. They have been time tested and modified, for our modern society. But I want to talk about gravity and how we have a relationship with how to have a relationship with gravity. Now, what does that mean? So I typically teach to, my students are mostly over the age of 55. And over the age of 55, our bodies really do some rapid changing, especially when you're getting into the 60s and to the 70s. And it's a time to learn how to restore our body and to manage our our movements that are more healing than harmful. So that's why I love these practices, because that's exactly what they are. And they're understanding this relationship between energy and gravity makes a huge difference in how you move and how you feel. So we need gravity to keep us rooted and grounded, or else we'd be just, there's a biomagnetic field in the earth. In the center of the earth, there's a biomagnetic field that keeps us from floating off into space. That's, the gravity, that's what helps us stay, on earth without, floating away. So we live between earth and the sky. And again, if you go past a certain elevation above you, you're just gonna, again, float away. So we live between these two energies of earth and sky, and we're in between these two energies, and this is our habitat, and this is where we thrive, and this is where we live. And gravity plays a big part in our health, again, especially over the age of 55. A lot of issues that happen at this age are about, we lose our sense of balance, and and when you lose your sense of balance, it can become it's a very insecure feeling, because you're always worried about falling. And the earth energy and the sky energy helps to stay in that balanced state between the yin and the yang. And rooting down into the ground, into the earth, keeps us very stable. But it is an energy practice. So it takes some mindfulness and intention to focus on that energy that we cannot feel, but is there, and where we tap into it energetically. And that's part of the practice. That can take some time to kind of get. But once you understand that particular principle, it's really going to help you stay rooted and grounded in your body, and also create an ease of movement in your overall body. Because if you're not grounded and you're not rooted, there's that feeling of kind of fogginess in a way. If you don't feel grounded and rooted, it's going to be hard to balance your body in your everyday life. So what I want to talk about is, gravity, using the idea of gravity for efficiency and ease. Once you can establish that relationship with gravity and the awareness of what gravity does, it helps to, especially in our posture, it helps to, it's kind of like it holds us up. Everything starts to drop when you get older. Your skin starts to sag. Some people have prolapse. A lot of women have pelvic prolapse in their body too, because everything's kind of getting condensed and compressed, because gravity's kind of taking over. And we want to turn that around. We want to root down through the earth, and we want to lengthen up through this atmosphere above us. So when you root down into the earth and then you lengthen up, it creates an alignment with your whole entire body. It's kind of like a chiropractic adjustment, basically, in your body. And it helps to hold you up to the, not tightly, you're not holding yourself up, but energetically you're holding yourself up. And when you do that, it helps to align your bones. So gravity doesn't have to wear you down, tightening up the body to hold yourself up. It helps to create, release some tension in the body and exhaustion. If you're always holding yourself up, it takes too much energy to do that. So we become friends with this idea of the gravity below you, the earth below you to support you. And as you kind of root down through that earth, there's a springing up of your body as well. So we don't want to be just rooted in the earth because that's very compressing. We also don't want to be just lifted up because that's very insecure. You're not feeling grounded or balanced. So we come to that balance of the yin and the yang. We come to that balance of rooting down, finding our roots, finding our grounding, which is a very secure feeling, and then also lengthening up to keep everything afloat, to keep that springy-like feeling, that buoyancy. So we want to feel, a buoyancy and a lightness in our body because it just takes stress off of it when you're doing that rather than compressed. The other thing that is very important about this power of understanding this, it also helps with pain. If you have a lot of pain in your body, that means you're probably very inflammatory, you have a lot of inflammation, you might be very compressed, and that causes a lot of pain and discomfort. So when you give over to that grounding and that stability with using that earth energy and that lengthening up through the crown of your head and using that energy above you, then you can release that tension and that compression in the body, which will be more comfortable to move in your body. So today's example I want to show you, have you experience, is first understanding that energy wants to move and it has to move. We want to move the energy in many different directions, but we also need to feel grounded and stable. And without feeling that groundedness and that stability, it's going to be very hard to move in your everyday life. So once you get that feeling of feeling rooted and grounded, it also brings a sense of, like I said, that lightness of being, treading lightly in your body rather than feeling a lot of tension in the body. What else do I want to say about that? So rooting down and springing up is the idea. And anytime you're feeling, you want that gravity to feel like it's supporting you. And I also find that I feel insecure and not comfortable in my body when I do not feel grounded. So I just came back from a trip in the airport. I always feel the most angst in the airport because you have to be very quick in an airport. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of coming and going. You've got to watch out for other people coming in. You're carrying your bags. If you don't feel grounded and if you don't feel supported and stable, it's an insecure feeling. It is for me. I feel insecure when I can't manage myself moving through, a tight space, a lot of people. So once you start feeling that, once you start to understand how to ground yourself and root yourself, then you're going to feel more confident in your own body and as it's aging and dealing with all that change that happens in our body. So I do a lot of exercises like with the eyes, which is great for balance. And also agility. You want to feel that agility without feeling light, without feeling rooted. It's hard to be agile. So again, this is the building that relationship with gravity, and also at the same time feeling relaxed at the same time. So it allows for free movement once you understand this principle. So Tai Chi is it's a flow. It's an energy flow. Qigong is also an energy flow. Tai Chi is more of a flow type of movement. Again, if you're feeling compressed and you're feeling tight, it's going to be hard to come into that flow feeling, that lightness of being. But it releases unnecessary. We want to move in a way that releases unnecessary effort. Flowing is very relaxing to a body and the mind, and it doesn't create a lot of harm to the body. It doesn't create any harm to the body. If anything, it heals the body. So again, that Tai Chi releasing the unnecessary effort while staying upright, strong, and steady, all at the same time. So while we're working in the postures today, I'm going to remind you of that, feeling rooted, feeling grounded, so you can also release, unnecessary effort in the practice. Dynamic relaxation also means being soft, open, and buoyant. Soft, open, and buoyant is also a very relaxed state for the body. The body will heal in that state, and that's also part of the movements of Tai Chi and Qigong. And again, feeling confident with understanding that you can always ground yourself very quickly to feel that stability, to feel that groundedness, so you have more confidence in yourself and how you move throughout your day. So we're going to start with the feet, and we'll do this sitting right now. And you can do this whole thing sitting, but we'll start with just the feet, because the feet are also, they're holding your whole body up. So we also want the feet nice and pliable as well. So I talked about, rotating the feet every day, massaging the feet, moving the toes and moving the ankles, doing rotations, because you want the feet pliable. And also the other benefit of rooting down through the feet is there's only one meridian line, energetic line, on the bottom of the foot, which is your kidney meridian, and it's right in the center of the ball mount of your foot. So we're energetically drawing in that energy from the bottom of the foot. You're also activating your kidney meridian. You're also activating that bladder meridian, which is they call it the wellspring of your body, our kidneys, because they move your fluids. That's what the kidneys do. They, flush out and they move all your fluids in your body. So another benefit to really root down through the feet into that earth energy. We're also, I teach seasonally because this is a natural based practice, and every season has a new protocol to it. Every season has a new element to it, and emotionality to it, different exercises to it, and that coincide with nature, with the seasons especially. So we're in this transition period right now. It's mid-September. It's September 10th today. We're still in the late summer season. The element of late summer is earth. And then we're gradually coming into the fall season. The element is metal. So bringing these two, so this is a transition. This is the most balanced yin and yang time of the year between these two transitions. We're the most balanced energetically this time of year. So this helps to practice this idea of grounding. This is kind of like the wind behind your sail. This is a great season to do this, because the late summer is very active. And there's a big switch from late summer to fall. Everything now is falling off. You're gathering the fruits of your labor. You're gathering all the produce that that has been planted. And then there's this falling away that happens in the fall season. That's why it's called fall. It's a letting go time of year. It can be a very melancholy time of year. And we want to feel supported before we start entering this season of fall. And feeling grounded and centered is going to help you to release the things that don't serve you anymore. So that's part of the fall practice. And then your every season kind of prepares you for the next season. So that's what this transition time is all about. So we're going to focus really more on the earth element, that grounding, that rooting, as we slowly start to come into that fall season, where we're going to need that grounding to help us move into that fall season. Okay, so let's get started. So you want your feet, the best way to do this grounding is barefoot, if you can. The best way to do this is outside, if you can. But if you can't, that's okay. But just know that the feet are the grounding electrical cord that's going to attach to that core of the earth. So if you look at the earth and you chop it in half, you will see there's a very hard substance in the center of the earth, which is your biomagnetic field. And that's the field, that's the energy field that supports you, on the earth. And that's what we're going to tap into through the bottoms of our feet. It's a highly active, charged part of your body are your feet and your hands, highly charged portals in a way to draw energy from the natural element of energy that's all around you. So we're going to draw in that natural energy. These are elixir fields for health and healing. So you're simply just going to have your feet flat on the floor. And we're going to root down in through the feet. And as you're rooting down, now we're sitting. So our base of support are not just our feet now, but they're also your sit bones or also your base of support. And then there's a lengthening up through the crown of the head. So again, we have this separation of rooting down and lengthening up. And you'll notice, we all do this, we start to slouch during the day. And you just want to root down into that earth energy through the feet, feeling this lengthening, like somebody's pulling on a string at the top of the head, and it's going to naturally just align all your bones just from sitting like this. And then, you can maybe close or soften your eyes for a few minutes and just feeling or imagining, it starts with imagination first, and then you'll start to get it energetically, that this earth energy, this natural resource is starting to move into you, into your body, and you're rooting down like roots of a tree to get really supported in your body, to allow the upper part of your body to lengthen up as the body goes into its natural alignment. So it's very simple, and you could do it at any time. So that's where we're going to start. And now we can come to standing, and we're going to do the same principle of rooting down through the feet and lengthening up through the crown of the head, coming into that natural resource of energy below you and above you. So we're going to start with, if I was teaching a class, I would, start to move the body a little bit, but I didn't want to make this class too long. I really wanted to feel the principle of this rooting down. So starting with your feet, you want to lift your toes up. We'll start here and then gently bring the toes back onto the earth. And then you're going to press your feet away from each other. It's an isometric movement. You can't even really see me doing it, but it's an isometric movement. As you move your feet away from each other, like you're pressing the floor away from like whatever's underneath you. I have a rug, so I'm moving the rug kind of away from me. You're feeling this expansion. As you're doing this expansion of the legs, your arches are going to start to lift up, and we want to do that. It's kind of like a suction cup, our feet to the earth. And then that starts to engage your legs, and the energy is going to start to root down, but then there's going to start to feel a lengthening up as well. So as you're moving your feet away from each other, it starts to, from the arches of the feet, starts to come up the inside of the legs. It's going to engage your whole core, but you're rooting down. So let's get a heaviness here first. Bend your knees a little bit and start to bring all your weight down without lifting up, and notice how that feels. You're going to feel rooting down, but there's a compression here. We don't want to feel compressed. So now you're rooted down into this earth energy. Now, like there's a little string and somebody's just lifting that string from the crown of your head as you start to elongate yourself. So now we're getting that alignment, that natural alignment of energy below our feet and above us. And now you should feel a little bit taller and a little bit stronger as you draw in this earth energy to keep you stable. As you keep yourself stable, now you're free to do some movements. So it's not going to be as takes so much energy to move your body when you're feeling rooted and grounded energetically. So that's through the feet. They're like suction cups, sucking in that, you're rooting down, and then that lengthening up, and then the spine aligns. Now we're going to use the palms of the hands, since they are a high conductive part of our body that can feel energy and draw energy. So we're drawing in the energy through our feet, through the palms of the hands as well. Now we're going to start to draw up this earth energy and lifting up, feeling that earth energy below your feet and below your hands, engaging, the core, keep using that energy, that movement of separating the feet away from each other to keep yourself a little bit more grounded and supported and rooted. Now, palms of the hands are going to face up. So now we're drawing this energy above us. We're gathering the energy above us. Now you can look up at the ceiling if you like. So the energy is moving up from the crown of the head, and you're moving down through the legs. So you're heavy in the legs into the earth, and you're lifting up. So now you're getting a stretch here of the spine and of the body. And you're connecting to these two energies below you and above you. Now we're going to start to twist over to one side. Now you're going to look around and you're going to drop one arm behind you and one arm in front of you. Now turning around, you're going to look behind you because there's energy all around. Turn your head and look in front of you because there's energy in front of you. Energy is all around, keeping rooted down through the legs, lengthening up through the crown of the head. Then lift those palms up again. Gather that energy. You're looking up again. Energy is up and above us. And then we start to turn, release the arms, one in back, one in front. Look behind you and look in front of you. And we're gathering all this energy. Gather it again, looking up. This energy wants to move, it has to move, and now we're directing it. And then you're taking these highly charged hands and you're rooting that energy down back into the earth. It's a simple movement, but so dynamic. So let's do that again. Let's start to feel that heaviness, bend the knees a little bit. You're kind of compressing the whole body down. That's what happens naturally as we age. We don't want to stay here. We do want to root down into the earth, but we also want to feel a buoyancy and start to lift up from the crown of the head, gently taking that energy up, rooting down through the legs. And now we're not compressed. We're rooted and we're lengthening up. We start to turn over to one direction, twisting the body, dropping the arms. Turn your gaze to look behind you. Turn your gaze to look in front of you. Then gather that energy again that's above you, turning around to the other side, dropping both arms, looking behind you, looking in front of you, and then again, gather that energy above you. Now this time, let that energy just move through you. So we're taking all that energy, you cultivated it, and you're settling it down. You're settling the chi, what they call the chi, the life force, or the energy. Little movements. We're going to start to move the energy in many different directions. Let's lift up that earth energy, flip the hands up, reach up towards the sky again, very similar, same principle, and then release the arms around. Again, we're drawing up that earth energy, keep moving down through the feet and then lengthening up from the base of the spine all the way up through the crown of the head. This is called holding up the sky, and then release down. So we're compressing here. Compress, exaggerate a little bit more, bend those knees again, and then you're slowly starting to root down and lengthen up, expanding the body, expanding and stretching the body and the energy in your body, and then we're going to release the arms back down. We're going to start to cross over here. We're going to create some directional movement energy-wise. Keep rooting down through those legs. Crossing the arms, this is called a crossover. This is also called harmonizing the yin and the yang energies. We're creating some space here energetically around us, and you're opening here. You're rooting down, feeling that rootness, that grounding, that stability in your body to feel confident in your body and in your place in space. We're moving the energy into a dynamic movement of what's called crossing over, and then realign yourself again. We're going to do a little bit more crossing over by bringing one hand and slide it down the inside of one arm so it moves out, then taking that, moving your hands on the outside of your arm, go behind your shoulder, cross over the chest, both hands come down the side of your leg as you reach through and out. And then we're going to do the other side. So you're coming down the inside of the arm. You're directing the energy now to move through you to the back of the shoulder. You're going to cross over the chest and then taking that energy down the opposite leg, down the leg and down into the earth and out. So that's a little bit more of a crossover. Bringing both hands, one is down and then the other one is going to be lifted up. Both palms, one palm is down and one palm is up. Again, we're stretching here. You're rooting down through the legs and you're reaching one palm down and one up. So again, an energetic movement. This is called separating heaven and earth, or separating that energy below you and above you. So we're creating this movement. We're moving the energy, keeping rooted in your body as you lengthen. Now you can add a little side stretch here as you come over to the side, and then we switch the hands. moving the energy. One is down, one is up, separating these two energies, leaning over to one side. So you've got the support of the earth energy to feel grounded, rooted, supported as you reach through the arms with less effort. So it becomes a little bit more of an effortless movement in your body rather than straining or stressing the body, and just moving that energy. Now we're going to take the backs of the hands, they're going to face each other, and we're lifting up that energy and out. This is called found. Bending the knees as you come down, so you're compressing, so then we could spring up. We're springing up. We're releasing and rooting down into the earth, compressing, and from that compression and from that rooting, then we can move up and we spring up. So this is called the fountain. We're generating that water element, bringing it up, drawing it up and out like a beautiful fountain, bringing that energy all around, lifting up, feeling that lifting and that buoyancy up, and then again, rooting down. Now the fingertips are going to face up. This is called silk reeling, and then out and around and down. So there's a little bit of spiraling here of energy, of movement, keeping that rootedness down. And we're releasing up, spiraling up and out. Again, keeping rooted down as you come down. And then you could spring up from there. There's more of a buoyancy here now, more of an awareness of that gravity, finding that relationship with gravity and with movement. And then we'll release. We'll take it to the other direction, lifting the arms up, fingertips point down. And now we're taking the direction all the way down and then releasing all the way up, springing up, rooting down through the earth. This helps to feel springy, feeling buoyant, less effort, feeling that effortless feeling of not using a lot of, we're not stressing the body with this. You're rooting down with that energy, and then it helps you to lift up the arms and then release and then bring them down and then settle in. Let's take one hand. Let's separate the legs a little bit. You're going to take one hand and you're going to move it to the other side, twisting the spine. So this is a twisting movement. This is called dragon looks at its tail. We're turning, we're moving, we're grounded into the earth with our legs, feeling the support of the legs. So you can do these movements. So this is a twisting movement of the body, effortless, easeful. You're releasing and twisting. You're coming back up. That buoyancy again, feeling rooted and grounded. So you have more freedom of movement. The spinal cord is being lengthened. Now the spinal cord is doing a twisting flexion of the body as we slowly release from side to side and then come back to center. Palms of the hands, energy field here. You can feel hopefully some energy between the palms of the hands. We're going to inhale, it's called the accordion. We're going to inhale and lean back a little bit into a bit of a back bend. And then you're going to compress everything. So we shift down again into the earth, compressing here. And then we spring up. And as we're springing up, we're opening up at the same time. You compress here, shifting back down into the earth, and then springing up. The energy, opening up the spinal cord, opening up into a back bend, and then compress. This is a little bit of a forward bend as well. And then we'll release back to center. We're going to do it's a moon segment. And I love these because we just had a full moon. It's a nice time to do this. But you're going to have one hand down and the other one on top. So this is called, we're catching the moon. And then we're going to spin the moon. So again, there's a compression here. Compress down, open it up as you lengthen up, compress, open and spin the moon, compress down, spring up, catching the moon, compressing the moon, opening the moon, and compressing. So that compression to spring up. The compression and then we spring up. And then compressing and taking this hand, you're going to bring it behind you, separate, step one leg out to the side, and then we're going to toss the moon. We bring that back in, and then we toss the moon. So you're shifting forward and back. Remember, you're very stable in the legs, but now you're creating movement, a little bit more shifting of the weight forward and back, effortless movement with the arms. You're moving the energy in many different directions. We're tossing the moon here. And then we take this arm behind us, and then we're going to separate the moon. So we come back to center and separate. So you're splitting the energy now. We're splitting the energy, splitting the moon. And you're shifting forward and back. You're catching the moon, and then you split the moon. You catch the moon, and then split the moon. So we're moving forward and back, shifting our weight forward and back. You're really grounded. Come back to that grounding feeling of your legs into the earth for more of an easeful movement of the upper body. Keeping that lengthening up and rooting down. And then catch the moon again. Compress it. And this time we're going to shift it around. So you're moving this moon, this like an orb in your hands, and you're shifting the weight forward and back again on the legs, but you're rooted and you're grounded, keeping that intention as you move the upper body into a turning. You're kind of turning the moon. We're moving the moon around that orb, around in a circle, and then go in the other direction, taking it into the other direction. Again, feeling that sturdiness again through the feet, rooting down into the earth for support. And then we'll release and come back to center. We're going to catch the moon on this side. And then the same thing, we open, compress, open, compress, open, compress, open, compress, open, compress, and then one more time, open and compress. And then this arm comes behind you, step over to the other side, and then toss the moon. We come back. We shift, we're grounded and we're rooted. We feel comfortable in the grounding. We feel confident in the sturdiness of the body moving forward and back, shifting the weight from side to side, feeling that agility in our body. There's no hurry here either. You're following the flow of the energy that's catching that wave, that energy, that buoyancy that I talked about, that easeful movement of the flow, just going back and forth. And then taking this other hand, and then we split the energy. So you're catching the moon, and then you split the energy. Catching the moon and split the energy. Catching the moon and split the energy. Catching the moon and then split. Compressing the moon and then turning it, stirring it. So again, root it down. Find that rooting, the grounding through your feet into the earth. Feel your stability, your balance as you're moving in the stirring of the orb, or the stirring of this energy ball, whichever you want to call it. And then go to the other direction. So we're turning it around, moving our body at a slower pace, that 4-second tempo that I talk about all the time. You're shifting and you're rooted and you're grounded. And catch yourself when you don't feel balanced or sturdy. And then switch your brain to come to your feet and root down like roots of a tree, and feeling the lengthening up through the crown of the head. And that's always going to bring you back to balance no matter what you're doing. any kind of movement, when you come back to that idea of rooting down and lifting up, that's going to create the stability. And then just let that settle in. Let's separate the legs and continue with the moon concept. We're going to shift over to one side. Both arms come up. This is called gazing at the moon. You're going to bring the arms back to center. You're going to mix the moon and the sun, and then you shift to the other side, gazing at the moon, at the sun. We come back to center, stir, shift, and look. Again, if you're not feeling sturdy, intentionally bring your energy to the feet, ground yourself into that earth energy, and lift up through the crown of the head and find your place in space as you move with effortless ease of movement, because the body is being supported by that earth energy and the energy above you, that habitat that we energetically live in. And we're moving and we're shifting our body from side to side, gazing at the moon and gazing at the sun, and then return and settle that energy in. Let's bring the legs together. Palms of the hands are going to come together. We're going to move. This is called piercing the clouds. The dragon is piercing the clouds. These are the dragon series. And it's a figure 8. So remember, I talked about directional movement. We're moving the body in many different directions from side to side, forward and back. Now we're doing a figure 8 movement with the spine, with the body. You're piercing through the clouds. Come back to the idea of rooting down, find your stability, and then bring the arms up. The dragon climbs the mountain, again, coiling up, because dragons like to coil. They like to twist. They like to do figure 8s, and the whole body is moving in the dragon. And then you can bring it back down and pierce again through the clouds, moving the body in a directional movement. And then find your place again in space, rooting down through the feet, but feeling the lengthening up, the buoyancy up. Now we'll practice a little bit more balancing. This is called Phoenix Rises from the Flames. We bend the knees a little bit, compress down, lift up, spring up, the arms come up. We shift down again, bending those knees, compressing. Remember, feeling that lightness of being as you spring up, feeling your feet touching the earth, feeling the crown of the head, that energy above you that's lifting you up and springing. So the phoenix is soft and buoyant again. Now the next time, maybe tap one toe and then release. Shift the weight to one leg, tap the other toe and release. Rooting down, find your balance again, find your rooting, because we're going to come into a little bit of a balance. This next time, maybe see if you can lift the knee up. So you're rooting down through that opposite leg, lengthening up through the crown of the head, and then you return. Lifting up again, rooting down and lifting up, finding your balance, and then release. So this gets easier. You want to find that place in space between the earth and the sky so you can stay sturdy and rooted. Lifting up, and maybe you feel good enough to bring the arms above the head. Maybe you feel sturdy enough standing on one leg. Maybe you don't, but come back to that idea of rooting down, lengthening up, and this is going to keep you supported and balanced no matter what the body is doing. The body is going to get familiar with this, and it's going to be easier for you to find your balance and to feel clear and balanced and light. A lightness of being. Tread lightly on the earth. Move in a fashion that is healing rather than harmful. Moving your energetic fields. Feeling that in your body as you root down into the biomagnetic field of the center of the earth. Keeps you supported as you lengthening up through the crown of the head. And then return back to center. We'll balance this all out. We're going to gather the energy from the side, bring it right down the center line of your body, compressing, springing up, compressing, springing up, compressing, springing up, and compressing. And then hold here, sway from side to side like a bamboo in the wind. The roots of a bamboo are very firm, so the rest of the bamboo can move easily. And that's what we're doing. Ease of movement, finding that relationship between gravity to support and hold you, and the lengthening from the top of the head, that energy above you to keep you lengthened and feel an ease of movement. And then find your center again. Just maybe bring your hands and just noticing how you feel, but keep that rootedness down, the lengthening up. There's not a gripping here. It is really about letting go into these natural resources that is always here for us. And then we'll gather again one more time, the energy below you and above you, and let it move through you, clearing you out, feeling maybe more confident in yourself, in your body, and relaxed in your mind. Thank you for joining me. I hope this helps. I hope you enjoy it. And thank you for joining. And namaste to all. And be well. Thank you.